Welcome to Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up on the show, what recession? Canadians seem to be spending pretty freely this holiday season, but can we spend our way past a slowdown? And there's a lot of hand-wringing on housing affordability, but what will it take to solve the problem? Plus, grocers are being called to answer for higher prices. Are they to blame for food inflation? That's all ahead. First, though, for the week that was in business, it's time for the briefs. The devil's in the details on Canada's growth story. While the economy turned in a decent showing of 2.9% growth for the period ending in September, defying expectations of a slowdown, much of that was driven by oil and agriculture. Households pulled back on spending in the same period, actually increasing the savings rate slightly to 5.7%. As more of us try to prepare for the recession we've been warned is on the way.
The consumer is weaker than expected. We have seen a decline in spending on goods, despite some improvement in the spending on services. So overall, this consumer is not really performing extremely well. And that's something that the Bank of Canada is watching very carefully.
That prudence seems to have been tossed by the time Cyber Monday rolled around. This week, Shopify, which manages transactions for merchants globally, said it saw a record $7.5 billion in sales on its merchants over Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. That's an increase of 19% from last year. Goodbye savings. Hello, Santa. The economy added 10,100 jobs in November, which was expected, while the unemployment rate dropped to 5.1%. Signs a tight labor market continues. And wage gains were stronger than the Bank of Canada will like in its fight against inflation, at 5.6%, running well above the bank's comfort level. For employees, that's still not keeping pace with inflation. However, overall, it leaves the door open for the bank to hike rates again when it meets next week.
All the data that we've had since the October meeting has come out stronger. It's telling you that there's still a lot of excess demand out there, and that, relative to what you thought in October, you might be a bit further away from pausing than you thought.
It turns out that less is more when it comes to work days. A pilot study of 33 U.S. companies trying the 4-day work week was a huge success, according to organizers and participants. Both businesses and employees want the formula to continue. For business, the case was pretty clear, a 38% jump in sales compared to the same period a year ago. The pilot was organized by 4-Day Week Global, which is also undertaking a massive study of UK companies trying the same thing. Results of that larger trial are due in February. The biggest bank merger in Canadian history will not go unnoticed by regulators. RBC's proposed $13.5 billion acquisition of HSBC's Canadian business will be reviewed by the banking regulator, the Competition Bureau, and the Department of Finance to determine what it might mean for competition in Canada's banking sector, one already dominated by a handful of large players. And those are your business briefs. So far, the holiday season looks like it may be a good one for retailers, with plenty of caution, of course, to go with that optimism. Ian Rosen is president and CEO of upscale clothing store Harry Rosen. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
So the early indications from Black Friday, Cyber Monday are pretty strong sales compared to the same period last year. Maybe that's not a good comparison. So we wanted to actually talk to somebody on the ground to find out how things feel. What do you think this season will be?
Yeah, we're coming off what has become an incredibly important couple of weeks for us with Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Our stores are back compared to last year, and that's really the biggest difference. Our online channel continues to be a very important factor in our business, but our stores being open and being able to show great selection of gift-giving items and ideas for the season has been a real help to our business.
We've heard a lot about excess inventory. Maybe that means sales for some. It could mean headaches for the retailers. What's the story for you? What are you seeing?
We're feeling, I think we had a lot of scenarios heading into this season, and we forecasted a number. We're feeling quite good about our inventory position. I'm happy it snowed last night so that we can start selling a little more on the outerwear category, but we're feeling good. And really the key for us is demand drivers, people going out, holiday parties, being seen at restaurants. That's a really important factor for us, and it's perhaps hiding a little bit of what might be to come.
How worried have you been about all this talk of recession? We may get one. It could be brief. It could be long. We don't really know, Ian. How do you plan for that when you're in a business like yours?
I think the last 2 years have shown us how to deal with uncertainty. So I think it's just forecasting a number of different scenarios and being ready for all the cases ahead. We are hearing a lot up on the supply chain about input costs rising and that perhaps driving up prices, but we're making sure we're working with our key partners, our brand partners, to make sure not too much is being passed along to the customer, and really just being prepared for all the scenarios ahead.
And are you getting back to normal a little bit? Because you've got a very special supply chain in that you deal with some luxury items that come from places like Italy and France. You can't really go anywhere else for the stuff you're getting. They're specific designers. Is it back to normal, or are you still seeing issues?
We are seeing way less issues, and I think that spring ahead and fall are going to be a lot more predictable. But like I said, we've become quite good at working on short notice and working with our supply chain to understand how we can present the best offering, even with constraints in place.
Ian, it's so good to have you with us. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Ian Rosen is president and COO of Harry Rosen. Coming up, housing in Canada is getting less affordable. That's despite efforts to help. So what needs to happen? Stay with us.